Good morrow, fair middens, and welcome to Wednesday Wonder. And I'm wondering if you're wondering what happened to Tuesday Thoughts. Well, it's being uploaded onto the YouTube channel, where you will find it, Journeys with Bear and Wolf. If you want to see the whole of this week, that is. Now, the first one on Monday was pretty short, and I usually go on for a little bit, maybe 15 minutes or so. That's not really on purpose, it's because I get into a flow of thought. And it's usually because something has tickled my curiosity or pricked my conscience or has just irked me, something like that. I'm wondering about irks. There are many irks I'm having at the moment, and it's usually because people are not acting or being congruent with the way that I expect them to be. And I think that many of us have that happen to us a lot of the time. My favourite irk of all is when someone says to me, "Don't worry about it, it's so simple, a child could do it." Well, I'm not a child. Children these days are wired into, jacked into this technological wonder that is the internet, etc., and all the little things that go with that. I'm not. When I went to school, we were still using slate and chalk. My first few months at school, I remember using that very item. Big bit of slate, bit of chalk. When you made a mistake, you rubbed it out. Can't really do that now though, can you? You have a delete button, yes, but also there's so many things to do on the setup. And I have actually had a word with the people at Facebook when it comes to this API situation and the degrading of a certain stream. I don't know what that means. All I know is that I want to make a live and I want to press a button and here I am. For me, what goes on behind the scenes should be behind the scenes and should be seamless, because they know what they're doing, don't they? And this is it. We always presume that people who are in the know will know what they're doing. But do they? Do any of us know what we're doing on a day-to-day basis that are within certain parameters, perhaps outside of those guidelines? Well, that's a no man's land of wonder and appreciation of how things can go. A bit Murphy's Law. So I wonder about what irks people and what they do about it. Me, I tend to ignore it when it comes to Facebook because I'm figuring out that they don't really pay attention to anything that you say to them on their feedback. So it's not really worth my time and effort. And basically what will happen is if I'm not able to do a live here, I'll go somewhere else and do it. Isn't that how consumer work works? And I think that that's an attitude as well that we have about many things in life. If we don't like it, we'll go somewhere else and get it somewhere else. Just as well. Although we do have this attitude of brand loyalty, which basically just means we like what we like, how we like it. And we don't like it when we don't get what we like, how we like it. Because we're so comfortable in that niche, and we've been spending a lot of time in the discomfort zone, in the unfamiliar. But actually, really, truly, it's not unfamiliar. 70 years ago, we were very familiar with lockdown. We had blackout curtains, we had sirens, we were all being told where we had to be, when we had to be, and how we had to be. We weren't allowed to have flowers in our gardens, we had to dig them up for victory and plant vegetables. So yeah, There's so many other things going on that we're all saying this is unprecedented. It's not unprecedented. In 1918, we had the Spanish flu that killed 500 million people globally. COVID is not even anywhere near that. Yes, partly that's got to do with the fact that we have more information flow via the media, etc. And we kind of know how to do barrier nursing, as in locking down, putting people away into their homes. But also there's a lot of misunderstanding over what is deemed the almighty vaccine situation. That it's going to cure everything and it's going to stop COVID in its tracks. Well, historically that's not how vaccines work. They take away part of the power of the vaccine, of the disease. But they don't make the disease go away. And part of our intense direction into using antibacterials on everything has its own consequence, in that if we kill all the bacteria, our immune system doesn't know what it is. So when it actually does get hold of it, and this goes for viruses as well, when it does get hold of it, it has a reaction that is exponential to what it would be had we been homeopathically subjected to the idea of that bacteria being there. Not all bacteria is bad for you. In fact, we may be killing off more bacteria that's good for us and that we actually need than we know. We are an ecosystem, and we live within an ecosystem that lives within an ecosystem, and all the way down the line. We are a chain, a biological, physiological, human, for us, animal, definitely part of a chain. We've made our own little bubbles, and we're locking ourselves in quite happily, and that irks me. It irks me particularly because these advertisements that we're seeing at the moment, saying that this is happening and that's happening, like it's never happened before, like we didn't know about bacteria before. Louis Pasteur knew about germs and things like that. That's when they started using carbolic in operating theatres, etc., or places where they would make surgical things going on with people. We understood then about cleanliness. There are so many things that a bowl of hot water and some soap can do that actually you don't need to use antibacterial. Soon we're going to be actually taking our children and getting some antibacterial wipes and plastering them with them. Or we're going to end up walking about in naughty suits if we're not careful, because this is getting just ridiculous now. All it's doing is giving companies money for old rope. All they're doing is adding on and viruses to the end of their advertising to say, hey, guess what? You'll be safe if you use this. Doesn't stop you from going out and getting hit by a bus. There's safety and there's safety. There's one thing that will do you well all over. Common sense. And I wonder why and how we ended up getting a common sensectomy around about 1970. That's when common sense started to die out, as far as I can tell. So when you see these adverts, remember that they're there to induce you to buy a product by telling you and getting at you this wondering that you have in your head about how you're going to be doing what's going to be happening outside of you. It's playing on your panic buttons. And at the moment, they're orchestrating a whole movement towards killing everything that actually doesn't need to be killed most of the time. Yes, be safe. Be careful. Clean things. But you don't have to buy every piece of antibacterial, antiviral situation that's going out there. Because even when you do, you're still going to get the cold. It's a coronavirus too. The common cold. Remember that. We adapt and we survive. We've been doing it for thousands and thousands of years. The one thing that we are doing at the moment is actually going down a spiral of not understanding that we don't have to clean everything to within an inch of its being using chemicals. There are far different and far softer ways to do it that are just as effective. So look out for them. Don't fall into the thing of giving people money for stuff that you don't need. I'll see you tomorrow.